being, a younger brother, you're kind of stuck. You don't have a lot of choice a lot of times. And I just had to, when he went to practice and whatever sport he chose, I just had to go with him. So that's how I got into the sport. I grew up in Chile in South America until I was 12, almost 13 years old. And then because my older brother wanted an opportunity to come here to the United States and try to get a scholarship and swim here, my family decided to move over here, and I followed in his footsteps. He got a scholarship to swim D1, and I followed, and I went to the University of South Carolina. There I had a great career in the NCAA system. I went to the NCAAs all 4 years, which is the nationals. I was an 11-time All-American there. And then 2 years after graduation, I qualified to the first Olympics, my first Olympics, the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo. And then I moved to Florida to train with a professional group down there. I was also part of the International Swimming League, which is a professional swim league, for 3 years during that time. And then I qualified to my second Olympics, the Paris Olympics, which brings me to today, where it's I just wrapped up my career. I happily retired. I feel like I achieved a lot in the sport, more than I could have ever imagined. And looking back, why I decided to go for the second Olympics, a lot of my reasoning was my parents and my family and the coaches weren't able to be in Tokyo because of COVID restrictions. So the second one really kind of checked everything off the list for me, and I'm really content with where I was at and retiring at this point and transitioning now to the business world. I actually retired after the first Olympics, and after the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. I didn't swim for about 8 to 10 months, completely away from the sport. I just mentally wasn't wanting to swim. I didn't have the energy to do it, and I just didn't feel like wanting to swim. I started a job in finance at the time. I moved, everything like that. And then kind of what you're saying, the hard transition period and the thoughts you have as an athlete start hitting me. And a lot of that came to, I wanted to enjoy, the high, but I wanted to enjoy it with the people that got me there. And I didn't get to do that. And that's kind of answering the last question, or tagging back to the last question, how I also answered that. A lot of the reason why I came back and kind of how I got over that transition thoughts, or the imposter syndrome, whatever you want to call it, that a lot of people refer to it, was coming back and just trying to enjoy that second journey a lot more. I enjoyed the second cycle a lot more. The expectations I put on myself were completely different. I was doing it for the journey, enjoying the journey with those people, with my family, with the coaches, and ultimately trying to get there. And once I did, it was a lot more rewarding than the first time. So that's kind of a little bit of my story and how I got over that. And this time I just feel like that hole is not there, that I never have that, what if they did come see me, or what if they were able to come. I got that already, so I feel more satisfied this time. Yeah, extremely valuable. In my case, I can give you some examples of how I think I've developed those. One of them is being, coachable or moldable to different, training techniques, different coaches you may be under. You may be in different teams that have different types of goals. When I was part of a college team, it was very team-based. And then when I was a professional, it was a lot more about, hey, how can we advance your career personally because you're a professional now? So learning how to adapt to what is the team goal, and being able to sit back and say, okay, how can I contribute personally? But then how is the team also moving forward? I think that I learned a lot in sports, more so than in the business world. And then another skill that I've learned in sports is probably just goal setting, and being able to know, how to goal set, knowing that sometimes there's stepping stones to some goals are, short term. So being able to differentiate that, I think that is something that I've done really well as an athlete, and I've matured along the way a lot. A lot of that goes back to the last question. The difference in my approach as an athlete from the first cycle to the second cycle. And now I'm approaching the business world like that. I'm setting goals a lot more maturely, knowing what I have to do outside, not just my role, or in that case, it was swimming. It was a complete package as a person. You have to be mentally happy. You have to be, a lot of things have to go right for you to be really good. And I think that's the case also in the business world. You have to take care of yourself as a whole package to be the best you can be at your job. What was really great to me, it wasn't like a regular recruiter that reaches out, with an opportunity. The first connections that I made, I think it was Andy and then Richard reached out to me. Richard really started to get to know me as a person first. Hey, how much longer are you thinking about swimming? When are you thinking about this transition? And to me, it also felt like every answer that I gave, there wasn't a wrong answer. Like, he wasn't expecting me to say, I was done after Paris. If I had plans to continue swimming until December, Richard was going to stick around talking to me until December. So that really helped in just that connection with ACT. And, I'm not shy to say that a lot of different companies like this reach out to you. There's other ones like in the US, there's international ones that reach out to athletes. So, what set ACT apart was probably just that they got to know me first as a person and kind of how I wanted my transition to go. And then they fit the pieces to that instead of the other way around. I would say the power of networking and reaching out to not only your network, but anybody that has been, in your shoes. And what I mean by that is any athlete that has felt, this pressure or this, maybe not pressure, but this lingering thought of the transition period and how they handled it. I think that's one of the valuable things of ACT is somewhat the networking that you have, and knowing that a lot of the people have gone through a lot of the same thoughts that you've gone through and a lot of the same things that you've gone through. So to those athletes, I would say reach out to people, and not only reach out to people that have made the transition, but also to other athletes that are in your same shoes right now, thinking about transitioning. Hey, what are you thinking about? What scares you, and why aren't you committing to it? Or what are your thoughts? And I think that's just the power of networking, and not only in this time, but the rest of your life. I think you're going to use that, and being able to talk to people about what they did, I think could help you.